Yo, what is going on, guys? Happy Saturday and welcome to the channel. My name is Hart. Today, I'll be breaking down this two-game NBA slate we have for Saturday night. We have the Knicks versus the Heat, and we have the Warriors versus the Lakers. Two-game slate here on DraftKings. $100,000 up top to first place as usual. So I'm going to be breaking it down, going over my favorite early look core plays, as well as doing a game-by-game breakdown. The early look core plays have been fantastic the past few days. If you guys have been tailing them, so that's been great. So looking to continue that. Make sure to check out my Price Fix video after this. We went 6-0 yesterday. We hit on both YouTube plays, and we hit on the six pick in my Patreon. So full swept the board yesterday. That was fantastic. So looking to continue this success, a lot of success this week into tonight. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Check out that Price Fix video out after this. And yeah, check out my Patreon. And I'll see you guys in this breakdown. So before I get into this breakdown, I just want to do a quick little recap of my lineup here last night. I wanted to enter into the big tournament, but then I wanted to play Embiid, so then I got a little bit scared just because of I didn't know how he's going to play yesterday, and I wasn't feeling too great on the Suns' value there with how they could just randomly go with like a Koji or Torrey Craig, or they could throw in Ross or TJ Warren like they did at the end of the game there. So for that reason, I just took that money out and put it back into a single entry here. Played a little bit lighter, but yeah, this is my lineup. The core plays yesterday for me were Campaign, Derek White, uh, Devin Booker, and Jamal Murray. So obviously, Devin Booker and Jamal Murray, fantastic. Campaign was super chalk, but he was a little disappointing there. And Derek White had 20 fantasy points in the first half, had four in the second half. So that was very frustrating there. But he's still, 24. I did think did he end up in an optimal lineup here? I thought he did, but still, I mean, 24 was still fine. But I mean, really, 20 in the first half and goes for 24. But yeah, I managed to cash yesterday. So I think it's three straight days in a row of cashing. Um, but yeah, campaign went for 18, Derek White 24, Bruce Brown 21, Torrey Craig 2, Embiid 61, Booker 77, Mountain 37, Jamal Murray 50. So I built my lineup around the fact that I mentioned this in my Patreon. You needed to have either at least one of Booker and Durant, if not both, one of Jamal Murray or Jokic, if not both. That's kind of how you're building your lineups. Obviously, I'm not saying play all four, but you know, a few slates ago I played both Booker and Durant. You could definitely play both Jamal Murray and Jokic. They both have upside when you do that. And then I said either like one of Brogdon, White, or Smart, and then knowing the Suns' value is kind of how I said to attack the slate. I end up paying up for Embiid. I love the fact that he was going to be less than 10% owned. Got him at 8% there, 61. So he had a really solid game. But Jokic obviously had that huge triple double, so it kind of ruined even low owned Embiid there. But yeah, Booker, fantastic there. Melton was really, really solid. I mentioned in my video how going to be a popular play there. So I liked him there. He came out on fire there just with all the peripheral stats. And then Jamal Murray had another really, really solid game. So still managed to cash even with a two from Torrey Craig, which I did not feel great about. Um, I know he wasn't starting, but yeah, they kind of ran like a 4 or 5 man rotation there without kind of the value guard. So that didn't really work out there. But yeah, um, as you can see here, here's the full sweep there. The 6x, the 25, excuse me, the 5x, and then the two pick YouTube plays there. So yeah, great night last night. Looking to continue that into tonight. For the Patreon people, I would try to have my core plays out. I'm going to be busy later, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to have the core plays out. So I'll just have them now. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll put them out now, and then if they change, I'm sorry. If there's any news, which I don't think there will be any news. The games are kind of spread out as well, so I think we'll be fine in that end. But for this first game here, Knicks versus Miami for the Knicks side, Brunson, Randall, both coming in at sub 8,300. Brunson's 8,300. Randall is 7,800. I like both of them a lot here. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to want to target the second game over the first game just because this first game, they play at a very slow pace. Not that high scoring in terms of Vegas total. So not a lot of people are going to want to take a ton of people from this game. They'd rather take maybe one or two pieces and then reach out to the second game here and take a lot of people from that and just kind of fill out the lineup that way. That's kind of the more popular uh, think for the tonight's slates, or excuse me, this afternoon slash tonight's slates. But right now, Knicks are 4 point dogs. It's a 209 game total. So Miami um, favored right now. And then for the second game, the Warriors are actually 3 point dogs, and the Lakers are favored by three, 228 game total. So you can see the game total. There's almost like a 20-point difference there between the two. But yeah, for this first game, I like Brunson and Randall a lot here, especially if they're going to be a little bit lower owned compared to like the other stars from the teams. I mean, they both should be in line to play 40 minutes each. We know they both lead the team in usage, so I like both of them a lot right now. I know Jimmy is back, so maybe it hurts Randall a little bit, but still, I think Randall's a very, very solid play. Coming off that ankle injury, played 38 minutes, was pretty solid. Went for 25, 12, and 8. So I do like him a good amount there. Barrett, 6,700, just more of a very risky contrarian option. Did not end the last game, did not close. He was fine, but he started off super, super hot there. I think he had most of his fantasy points. I think he had 95% of his fantasy points in this game. So I think he had like 30 at halftime. Only finished with like 33. So he's just very, very risky there. I don't love his price tag at all. Josh Hart, kind of the same thing. He's a fine play. Like he will play the minutes. It's just with Randall Barrett there, you can't really expect him to shoot 11 times. And Brunson there. So it's like he went for a triple double. It's just a huge outlier game, as you can see. I mean, we know he has that upside if you want to take that shot there. I don't mind it because he does have the minutes, and the minutes are huge in the playoffs. But I don't love the price tag. I do think he'll be a little bit overowned because people will chase that box score. For the centers, Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein will split the center minutes. Mitchell Robinson will, stay out there if he's doing well, but it's the foul trouble, right? Like if he gets in foul trouble, they will go with Isaiah Hartenstein. If he's doing fine, they'll keep him in there. So he did play 26 minutes. He was doing solid rebounding it. So I think they're both fine plays. I'd still prefer to get to Mitchell Robinson just because it's upside, but I don't love either center play right now. Moving on to quickly, more of a contrarian play there in the mid range. 5,000. He just hasn't been great this series at all. So it's like we know he has upside as we saw during the regular season. It's just he can't find it right now in the playoffs. So if you want to take that dart throw on him, I don't mind it because he should be super, super low owned. Top and too pricey with Randall back. Grimes, I guess, is an okay value. He should go back to really not shooting the ball at all. He's very non aggressive when he Randall's back. So it's like if you needed some salary, I guess you could take a shot on him, but I don't love it. And then Hartenstein, is it okay salary relief play there? As we know, he's decently productive. And if Mitch Robinson gets in foul trouble, um, Hartenstein's the main backup. So right now, I'm just going to throw in Randall there into the lineup. For this Miami side here, we have Jimmy Butler at 9,400, who should be good to go. If you guys saw, he was waving to the crowd and smiling at the end of that last game. So I'm expecting playoff Jimmy to come out being very, very aggressive. So I do like him as one of my favorite spin ups of the day. I think Bam is a pretty solid contrarian option. He was pretty popular last slate with no Jimmy and only went for 35 and a half fantasy points. It's because I just think it's one of those things. Bam can't be like the main focus of the offense. That's just not how he is. It's not how he rolls. So it's like he definitely struggled a little bit there, just kind of being the main guy. And so having Jimmy back really, really helps open things up for him. So I do like him there, 8,000. I do think he'd be a very contrarian, but a very risky but contrarian option for tonight that could have huge upside. So I will mention that. Vincent looks solid. Played 41 minutes. I expect his minutes to go down maybe a little bit. I expect, at least 30, maybe closer to 35. He will still be aggressive even with Jimmy back. So I still think he's a decent play there at 5,400. Caleb Martin, I guess he's questionable with the back, but it looks like he should be good to go. So I don't expect 38 minutes. I don't expect him to shoot 15 times. He was just very aggressive because there's no one else out there to shoot or score. So I think we expect back to mid 20s, maybe into the 30s minutes. Um, he still has the upside, as you can see. He can still get you there even on 8 or less shots. So it's like I still think he's a pretty decent play there at 5,300. Lowry, kind of the same thing. So it's like I love the whole I don't know if Martin will start or Lowry will start, but the first five for the Heat here, I love them all just because I think they are the highest upside guys. Lowry should play around 30 minutes. He should be productive. It's just he's very foul prone at times. So yeah, have a lot of love for all those guys. Now we get into the riskier bunch of Love, Struce, Robinson. Those three, they really just go with a hot hand. So if like, you want to take a shot on someone, I'd say maybe Love, but otherwise they're all very risky. Um, Sure, you can land on them, but you really need them to hit their shots and stay out of foul trouble. Otherwise, they'll look to other people um, like a Lowry, Martin to fill in and just play more minutes. So that's the issue there. Moving on to this second game here, Golden State and Lakers. For Golden State, the issue with Steph is they've kind of been double teaming him a good amount and kind of getting the ball out of his hands. Obviously, it did not work in that second game there because the Lakers got blown out. Steph went for a double double, 20 points, 12 assists, 7 of 10. So he's pretty efficient. It's just, it was nice to see the upside was there with the double double upside with him getting double teamed. But I say he's a slightly riskier pay up option. But we know Steph, even if he gets double teamed, he can find ways to go off and score. So I think he's still a very solid option. Clay Thompson, as we saw, like if he hits his shots, definitely has a solid ceiling. He's very score independent in that last game because all he was doing was shooting. Lost some minutes because of the blowout, but yeah, I mean he's still a very solid player there at 7,000. I once again like Andrew Wiggins a good amount. It's just the minutes, right? Like he will be aggressive when he's out there, but lost minutes because of the blowout. Shot 3 of 8, so he was not shooting the ball well once again. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, which is fine. So it's like he just really hasn't been flashing his ceiling recently. Has really struggled with coming when it comes down to getting blocks and steals. But 6,800 for a guy who should be playing 35 plus minutes. Still really, really, really like Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green, I like him a lot too. As you can see, 28 minutes, still went for 40. He's gonna get those. He'll randomly get points, but he'll always get those rebounds and assists. Now, if Looney does start, it definitely hurts the upside for rebounds for a guy like Draymond Green. Maybe a little bit of hurts the upside a little bit of for his assist as well. So I really, really like Draymond if Looney comes off the bench again. If Looney starts, I still like Draymond, but I think he's got a slight downgrade, but still think he'd be a very, very solid play. Looney would be a very solid play if he starts, if he comes off the bench. Um, Still, I think is risky unless he comes off the bench and there's no minutes limit, then I say you can get to him. But if that happens, then it's like I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I do have a good amount of interest in both these guys. Draymond Green has been solid producer. Looney has just been fantastic rebounding. So they both look great. Now into the riskier plays of Poole. Um, he's more like a quickly for me. Like his minutes are obviously a guarantee. He's been a little bit more productive than quickly, but still 5,100. There is that chance he doesn't get the run. He comes out and plays bad and just gets sits on the bench. So more of a risky GPP option right there with Poole. Green, if he starts, I guess you could take a shot on him. He was very productive when he's out there in 13 minutes, but the issue is he only played 13 minutes. I don't think we expect any more than that. So that's the issue there. Um, DiVincenzo was kind of the main guy off the bench last game, 28 minutes, but before then he only played 12. That last game of the Sacramento series, he only played 8. So it's like the minutes are just all over the board. Excuse me for these guys. Moody, he was actually very solid. Obviously, got some blowout run there, but he played a good amount. In like I'd say he played like 12 minutes before the blowout happened. So it's like I don't know. It's hard to trust these value guys on the Warriors. If I had to land on someone, it'd probably be DiVincenzo. I mean, Gary Payton only played like 5 seconds that last game. I don't even know if he technically played because he checked in. It was a turnover, throwing the ball out of bounds when it was already an inbound or they had to pass it in. Yeah, it's like I don't trust any of the value here for the Golden State Warriors right now. And then moving on to the Lakers, kind of the same thing as always for the Lakers here. AD, LeBron, love them both. Slightly prefer LeBron to AD, but as I mentioned with AD, he has those games where he goes off, where he wasn't really chalk. Everyone chased him that second game, and he had a letdown game. That's just kind of how AD is. He's a roller coaster. One game, he's at the mountaintops of how good he is. Next game, he is all the way down in the valley of just how bad he can be. So I do like a bounce back spot here for AD. I think a lot of people are expecting it, but do expect him to be heavily involved. I expect a good game both for LeBron and AD, and maybe even Steph. So it's like I like all three of them a lot. D'Lo, we know he's upside there in the mid range. It just comes down to can he hit a shot. Obviously, the game blew out, so a lot of these guys lost some minutes. But yeah, I like D'Lo. I like Reeves. The issue with Reeves is that he's been struggling because he's been running around trying to guard Clay, and it's really really hurt his offensive ability on the back ends on like the second halves of these games. So he's definitely a little bit riskier now just because he's getting really really tired running around trying to guard Clay, but still he's going to play the minutes. I still like his upside there. Rui, my boy, all over him last game. I don't think anyone else in the community was over him, and they got burned. Rui had the classic Rui game there, like he did at the beginning of the Memphis series, where he came out, he was super productive. As I mentioned, there's a few things that we needed to go our way for him to do well. Like AD really struggled. The Lakers were not really able to score, and that's kind of what set up Rui to have a very, very solid game there. So he was great even before the blowout. I think he got 24 of his 30 fantasy points. But the issue is, right, like if Anthony Davis doesn't struggle today, starting off the game, Rui isn't. They're not going to look to Rui. Like Rui will probably come in at like the 2 minute mark, maybe play 5 minutes, and then he'll probably check back out again for Anthony Davis. So that is the risk there with Rui. Like if Anthony Davis is solid, having a decent game, LeBron's having a decent game, everyone else is kind of scoring a little bit. Rui is definitely very risky still at 4,400. So it's like don't chase him. But it's one of those things, as I mentioned, like he does definitely has upside, as you can see here. Maybe they'll go back to him a little bit more, but he still only played 22 minutes, even in the blowout. So it's like I can expect it in most mid 20s, but still very, very risky to go with Rui today. I'd prefer going the Anthony Davis route instead of Rui, compared to last slate. Vanderbilt, fine value play there, 4,200. He's just kind of limited on minutes and on upside. I'd rather take a shot on Schroeder there. Same thing, minutes are all over the place, upside all over the place, but he's still pretty solid, and that's about it. So right now, I'll throw in two more plays for you guys today. I really like Jimmy Butler there, and who else are we going to go to? So these are going to be the four core plays as of right now. Four really the core plays. Love Wiggins in the bounce back spot. Love Jimmy. It'll be interesting to see what his ownership's like. If he's super risky, if he's super low owned, kind of like Embiid, where people are scared of his injury, or if people are going to be like, it's playoff Jimmy. He's going to come in, play his full amount of minutes. He's going to be fine. So that'll be interesting to see there. Green. I like him even if Looney starts, but obviously I'd prefer if Looney comes off the bench, and then I do like Randall a good amount at 7,800. So it's like those are my four core plays as of right now. Obviously doesn't leave us with too much to be able to work with 4,800 left over. There's not a lot of value on the board today, but we'll make it work. So yeah, those are the core plays. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Check out my price picks video out after this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.